People from all walks of Richmond flooded Monroe Park on Saturday near Virginia Commonwealth University, toting signs, banners, and slogans in support of Occupy Richmond. Occupy Richmond is a local extension of the Occupy Wall Street movement. About 300 people attended the Monroe Park meeting with ideals, concerns, and solutions about the world's political, economic, and social state.
If we intend to represent the views of 99% of the population, that encompasses such a wide variety of issues that all goes back in a kind of pyramid-like scheme to the wealthy 1%.
That's Northside resident Eric Scott. Scott said he, like many protesters that came to the occupation, are concerned with the oppression in Virginia of people based on their race, sexuality, and gender.
Here you'll find people representing one or more of those issues. Each individual person has something that they care passionately about that brings them here, and I think that that's really cool.
Around 4 p.m., Occupy Richmond's meeting came to order. The group proceeded to discuss on the location they plan to occupy, and the debate came down between Monument Avenue and Kanawha Plaza. After a few hours, the group had come to consensus and was en route to Kanawha Plaza in Richmond's downtown district. Longtime Richmond resident Teddy Parham was one of the first to arrive at the plaza. Parham said she has worked for 32 years as a community activist in the city, helping schools, the elderly, and the homeless. She said the Richmond Department of Social Services needs to do more to help the city's homeless, many of which sleep in and around Kanawha Plaza.
They're so inexperienced at dealing with real problems, real people, that textbook scenario does not work in real life. They don't have a clue as to what's going on in their city.
After nightfall, the group had another debate on whether to sleep in the plaza or on the nearby sidewalk. The plaza is closed to the public after 8 p.m., and many protesters were concerned with the small police presence across the street. Eventually, the mass of protesters shuffled over to the sidewalk. Captain William Smith of the Richmond Police Department was one of the officers watching the protest from across Canal Street. Smith said he had been the point person in the dialogues between Occupy Richmond and the police in the weeks leading up to the protest.
As long as they continue to abide by the laws and they're free to express their First Amendment rights to assembly and free speech to their heart's content, we fully support them in that regard.
A large portion of the protesters began to filter off the plaza and back to their homes as the night turned to morning. One protester who planned to stay the night on the sidewalk was Josh Cadrich. Cadrich has been involved with Occupy Richmond since its first meeting, October 6th. He said that no one member of the occupation is an organizer or a decision maker.
And that's one of the beautiful things is that this is a horizontal leadership structure, which means that there are no individual leaders, there are no autonomous decision makers, and that anyone who wants to have a voice in the way that this process is executed has that ability.
Cadrich says he thinks the movement is important because the opportunity it presents to create a new and different kind of community.
And what happens when you get an occupation is you have intercommunal education. So that's why I got involved in this, is that there's sort of a lack of intellectual curiosity in the fabric of society in America today, and a movement like this is a really great way to reinstill the ideals of teaching one another.
At daybreak, only 50 protesters had stayed through the night. But as the day went on, more protesters returned to the plaza to continue to help plan how the occupation will proceed. Whatever comes next for Occupy Richmond, it remains clear that this movement is gaining attention worldwide. According to OccupyTogether.org, protesters in over 1,500 cities are now participating in occupations. For the Commonwealth Times, I'm Charles Couch.